fellow American mayors, but by mayors from across Canada and Mexico. Before we get started, I'd like us to do a quick roll call so that all of my colleagues standing here with me can introduce themselves, and we'll start with Councillor Bligh.
Hi, everyone. Councillor Rebecca Bligh, President of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities in City of Vancouver, British Columbia.
Enrique Galindo, San Luis Potosí, México.
Olivia Chow, Mayor of Toronto.
Tom Cochran, CEO of the United States Conference of Mayors.
Carol Saab, CEO of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities.
Mark Sutcliffe, Mayor of the City of Ottawa.
Isaac Montoya, Naucalpan, México.
Brian Barnett, Mayor of Rochester Hills, Michigan.
Andy Shore, Mayor of Lansing, Michigan.
Lerdo Durango, Homero Martínez Cabrera.
Adrián Chaparro, Durango, México.
Carlos Manso, Uruapan, Michoacán, México.
Daniel Rickman, Columbia, South Carolina.
Jorge Hernández Arauz, Cuautepec, Hinojosa, Hidalgo, México.
Drew Gilkins, Mayor of the City of Windsor, Ontario.
Latoya Cantrell, Mayor of the City of New Orleans.
Muy buenos días, mi nombre es Claudia Gatón, yo represento la alcaldía de Ensenada, Baja California.
Brittany Merrifield, Mayor of the Town of Grand Bay, Westfield, New Brunswick.
Elena Natu, Mayor of Sturgeon County, Alberta.
Brenda Locke, I'm the Mayor of Surrey, British Columbia, Canada.
Buenos días a todas, a todos. Daniel Serrano, de Cuautitlán Izcalli, Estado de México, México.
Julio Arreola, alcalde de Pátzcuaro, Michoacán, México.
Ron Nirenberg, alcalde de San Antonio.
Guillaume Tremblay, Mayor of Mascouche and Vice President of Union des Municipalités of Quebec.
Chad Bashinsky, Mayor of Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada.
I want to make sure we didn't miss anybody. We've just completed an unprecedented summit of North American mayors focused on an issue of importance to all of our cities right now, and that is trade between our three nations. This is an extraordinary gathering at an extraordinary moment. As you all know, the last couple months have been marked by escalating tariffs and threats to trade. At this summit, we've shared how our economies, good jobs, and the cost of living in each of our communities all depend on the trade relationship across North America. And we conclude with one simple message. Let us end this trade war and restore the stable and mutually beneficial trade relationship that has provided all of us so much shared prosperity. The United States has no better trading partners than our closest allies, Canada and Mexico. And the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement, put in place under President Trump in 2020, has set fair rules for trade across our continent. As we see it, there's no reason to backslide on this agreement. We all come from different places. Each of us wants what is best for our own country and our own city. What we know, however, is that when it comes to trade, what is good for Columbus is not bad for Toronto. And what is good for Ottawa is not bad for Ensenada. Trade benefits us all, and tariffs hurt us all. I can tell you from an American perspective, there's no more important issue right now than the cost of living. And tariffs do little more than make the cost of everything more expensive, from groceries to manufacturing to running a city. It also is going to drive up the cost of housing. Addressing the affordable housing crisis is the #1 priority of the Conference of Mayors. Some are estimating that these tariffs will increase the cost of homes by at least 5%, so $21,000 more in costs need in American cities right now. We need more builders and developers to be building and developing in Columbus and Central Ohio. And these tariffs will make it more difficult, which is the last thing we need right now. The story is the same for all of us, and I'm so grateful to the mayors of Canada and Mexico who traveled so far so that we may speak with one voice. We stand together in recognizing the value of trade in the importance of strong economic ties between our three nations. That's why today, mayors from our three nations are releasing a joint statement in support of free and fair trade between Canada, Mexico, and the United States of America. We are warning of the serious and lasting damage from tariffs and calling for an end to the trade conflict. All of us are mayors. We are closest to the people we represent. We understand that politics and partisanship go on in this city of Washington. But we just care about what's best for our residents, our workers, our companies, the consumers in our cities. And we're going to make our voice heard. And we hope that by speaking together, we can have a positive impact. With that, I'd like to hand things off to my Canadian colleague, Councillor Rebecca Bligh of Vancouver, and President of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities.
Thank you very much, Mayor Gunther. So hello and bonjour. First, I'd like to thank the U.S. Conference of Mayors for organizing this important summit. I am honored to be among my fellow municipal colleagues who have traveled from across the continent to be part of this crucial conversation on free trade. Mayors and councillors from cities across North America have gathered in Washington to discuss the impact of this ongoing tariff war, one, I might add, that we have never asked for. For nearly 30 years, trade between our three countries has brought immense value and deepened the bonds between our nations. We have grown into close allies, partners, and neighbors. We show up for each other, lean on each other, and have created a solid foundation for all. However, the strength and unity of our countries have suffered at the hand of this unjust tariff war. Our bond was once the envy of the world, and now not only have these tariffs caused significant tensions in our relationship, but it has already begun negatively impacting our respective nations, cities, and communities. As a small business owner, a member of the Vancouver City Council, and president of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, I have witnessed firsthand the effects of these tariffs. Every single day since the beginning of this trade war, I hear Canadians' concerns. Will the cost of living increase? How will I be able to afford groceries? Will I lose my job? Will my business survive? And at the heart of our communities are the local businesses that drive their economies. As it stands, nearly 90% of North American businesses are small businesses that rely on this cross-border trade. According to the Canadian Federation of Independent Business, more than a quarter of these businesses buy more than half of their goods from U.S. suppliers. When local businesses are struggling, local jobs are next on the chopping block. And right now, a large number of Canadians worry about losing their jobs, as businesses have already started to scale back on hiring. Many of my Canadian colleagues have shared with me that job losses in their communities were on the rise even before the tariffs were fully implemented. As many of us did, I got involved in local politics because I care about my city, and I want to help Canadians build a better life. We local leaders only want to see our communities grow and provide our residents with the services they need. But with these tariffs, municipalities across Canada are concerned about the direct result this will have on long-awaited infrastructure development, which affects housing construction and much-needed community and housing-enabling infrastructure. These tariffs put significant financial pressure on our local governments, especially on more rural, remote, and northern communities. Municipalities are on the front line of this economic downturn, which is hitting our country when it is already at its most vulnerable. This summit takes place at a crucial moment for us as Canadians as we prepare to vote for a new federal government. Canada's strength has always come from within, from our people, our natural resources, our industries, and our communities that make up our country. But right now, we are navigating deep uncertainty, Right now, all our energy should be on securing the long-term prosperity of Canada. However, we find ourselves engaged in a battle against unfair tariffs that are being imposed on our nation and our closest allies. So today, I was able to see firsthand the resilience of our country's relationship, the unity of local leaders, which goes beyond simple economic cooperation. The ties we have forged are stronger than any tariff. We are friends, partners, allies, and neighbors. Municipalities are the engines of our nation's economic growth. Together, we stand united and ask for these escalating tariffs to end. Today, we speak with one voice on behalf of Canadians, Mexicans, and Americans who deserve the economic conditions to ensure long-term prosperity for all. We are stronger together. Thank you, merci, and I'd like to hand it off to Mayor Olivia Chow.
Yes, Mayor from United States, Canada, and Mexico are speaking with one voice. During the summit, we express our fear, the fear of price of everything going up, cost of living making us life unaffordable, jobs lost. But despite that fear, there's a real sense of unity and hope, to say that resilient. We have deep friendship and culture and history together as a people in North America, and we share so much in common. And that spirit of unity gives us that hope as we share our stories of resilience, as we share our best practices on how we could get through this trade war by continually connecting with each other. The word that came out that was solidarity, of being together. And we remain hopeful that our voices will be heard because we are a level of government closest to the people. And when people speak out, no one can ignore them. That's why we remain hopeful and will continue to connect with each other, continue with this friendship, and continue the journey because we know we will pull through all of this trade war stronger together.
Muchas gracias. Primero, en primer término, agradecer la invitación a este importante evento en un momento tan delicado en las relaciones comerciales de nuestros países. Segundo, agradecer en esta jornada de trabajo los comentarios tan respetuosos y tan gentiles que recibimos la delegación mexicana de parte de las alcaldesas, de los alcaldes. Muchas gracias. Hemos coincidido en que los alcaldes, las alcaldesas, somos las figuras, las autoridades más próximas a la ciudadanía.
We are conscious that we, the mayors, are the figures that so close to the community.
Nos corresponda o no a nosotros, es a nuestras autoridades, a nuestras alcaldías, a quienes se les reclama el crecimiento del empleo que se genera a nivel nacional.
So it corresponds to us, or maybe not. Is this to us that they're gonna complain about the commercial development and the growth of employment in our nations?
El crecimiento económico o la recesión económica de un país en ningún lugar se siente más que en cada una de las municipalidades desde nuestra vida cotidiana.
The economic growth or the economic recession of a country in no place is felt more than in every and each one of our municipalities, from our daily life to the most local one.
Por eso la sinergia entre las autoridades que aquí están representadas, más allá de una fotografía grupal, es la expresión de buenas voluntades y de nuestra historia de amistad.
That's why this synergy demonstrated between the authorities here that are represented more than a simple picture that is in a group, is the expression of our best hopes.
Así es que hemos apuntado como una eventual agenda las redes de ciudades hermanas y el trazo de una agenda específica de objetivos en torno a hermanamientos, que es una vía importante para reforzar desde lo local los acuerdos comerciales, de negocios, con voluntad o sin voluntad, pero de ambas partes a nivel nacional, pero sobre todo en lo local, a partir también de intercambios culturales.
Here, we took note of the networks of our sister cities. We are drawing an agenda that is specific to the objectives to our sisterhood. It is a pathway so important to reinforce from the local side the commercial agreements and business agreements with goodwill, without the will of some.
Ante las invitaciones que han realizado nuestros pares en Cuautitlán Izcalli, estoy seguro que en toda la representación de México nos encontramos listos para continuar abonando desde lo local a nuestras relaciones. Muchas gracias.
So from this invitation that we have received locally, we will continue to be advocating for these realities. Thank you.
Any questions from the press?
Let me just move so you can come back in.
For Nancy. Yes, please, and if you could identify yourself and your outlet, please.
My name is Jose Diaz. I work for the Reforma newspaper from Mexico. And I have a question for the Mexican mayors here from San Luis Potosí, Lerdo, and Cuautitlán Izcalli that have automotive facilities in their districts. How will these tariffs impact, daily lives and investment? ¿Cómo impactarán estos aranceles las inversiones automotrices en San Luis Potosí, Lerdo y Cuautitlán, donde hay bastantes plantas importantes de la industria automotriz?
Could you repeat the question in Spanish, please?
¿Los tres contestamos? ¿Quieres primero?
No, could you ask the question in Spanish, please?
Yes.
Co-
Todas estas tres localidades tienen
all these three localities, all these three
automotrices.
localities have these automobile factories and.
I think I did it, right?
Ya la hice la pregunta.
¿Sí entendieron?
Sí, claro. En el caso de Cuautitlán Izcalli, como se sabe, somos un municipio muy joven, tenemos 51 años de edad.
In our case, we are a very young municipality. We only have
51.
51 years.
Y la historia de nuestro propio municipio no se entendería sin la presencia de Ford Company.
And you will not understand this very same history of our municipality without the Ford Company.
De la misma forma, la historia de Ford no se entendería sin la población de Cuautitlán Izcalli.
And at the same time, Ford history will not be understood without the participation of our locality.
Es la planta más productiva que tiene Ford, ahí se fabrica el Mustang eléctrico, por supuesto que nos preocupa.
Is the utmost produce factory for Ford. We make the Mustang that is electric.
Y la principal preocupación radica justo en la pérdida de empleos, en la pérdida de la inversión.
And our major concern is exactly losing our employment.
Y sin embargo, nosotros estamos listos para, desde lo local, generar condiciones para que ni la inversión ni los empleos se pierdan.
But from our locality point of view, we are ready. We're prepared, so our employment and the investment is not lost.
Esperando desde luego y vamos a actuar en coordinación a los planteamientos de la presidencia.
But we are expecting and we're very hopeful to hear from our president and our governor.
El alcalde de San Luis Potosí está muy cerca.
Sí, gracias. Primero, agradecer la oportunidad de estar aquí con alcaldes y alcaldesas de los tres países.
So thank you. Very grateful to be here with mayors from the three countries.
Tuve la oportunidad de compartir con ellos y con ellas lo que sucedió en San Luis Potosí en la crisis de la pandemia.
So I had the opportunity to share with them what happened in my city during the pandemic.
La industria automotriz se vio afectada por la falta de autopartes, partes y chips.
The automobile production was affected because we didn't have parts, we didn't have computer chips.
En ese momento, desde la ciudad, logramos conectar, hacer networking entre las grandes empresas, entre ellas General Motors, para que proveedores locales puedan insertarse en las cadenas productivas.
So we were able to secure participation for GM, BMW, Konumi, Vave. So from the local supplies, we will get those parts and materials.
Pusimos en marcha este plan de acercamiento entre la proveeduría local con las grandes empresas y nunca imaginamos que íbamos a llegar a esto. Y sirve, el caso de San Luis Potosí está sirviendo de ejemplo de cómo desde las ciudades aportar a este desafío que hoy tenemos. Además, con incentivos fiscales, desregulación de trámites municipales, que es muy importante, y desde luego muy ligado a la política nacional de la presidenta Claudia Sheinbaum.
So we accomplished this closeness, and we had reached this for San Luis Potosí. We are in an example of a city that will look for local suppliers from the main suppliers, and we also work with fiscal benefits, and we also expedite the permits to accomplish this.
Thank you.
Yes. Question for Guillaume Tremblay.
No, c'est me. Excuse me.
Mon collègue à Radio-Canada, but I'll ask it in English because that's the extent of my French. Can you talk about what was accomplished during this meeting with your colleagues and how it will help, because mayors do have limited powers on federal issues like this? En français.
Bien, écoutez, aujourd'hui, le monde municipal s'est réuni comme jamais. Des États-Unis, les villes du Mexique, mais aussi les villes du Canada. On s'est rassemblés pour dire haut et fort que nous, de notre côté, on ne croit pas que les tarifs soient la solution. On croit plutôt, comme on a vécu dans le passé, que la solution va passer vraiment par de la complicité, travailler en équipe, travailler ensemble, l'ensemble des communautés. Et aujourd'hui, les gouvernements de proximité, c'est un peu le message qu'on voulait passer tous et chacun, donc de se réunir ensemble, mais surtout d'être en mode solution. Mais les tarifs, c'est pas la bonne solution. On demande aux gens de travailler ensemble pour trouver des meilleures solutions.
Josh Cook with the Associated Press. I was wondering if anyone involved in this event had spoken to anyone inside the Trump administration and shared your concerns, and how worried you were about next Wednesday, which President Trump has called Liberation Day, as he plans for more tariffs.
Mayor Rickman, you want to take a shot? Go for it.
I would say that this organization, obviously coming together, all of us have pretty much put our stance out there that we're very concerned in the effect of that. And next week is D-Day for a lot of us. But the effect is, I mean, in my community alone, state of South Carolina, this could be a $3 billion effect to our trade. We have the second deepest port on the East Coast. We have over 500 companies dealing in automotive alone, textile, aeronautics, et cetera. So when we start looking at that, and then we talk about rebuilding, we just had Western North Carolina in fires. Currently, there are fires in my home state right now above Greenville. All of that is affecting when we start talking about building supplies, steel. Right now, Sunoco Products, based in South Carolina, is already feeling aluminum prices going up. They're in the packaging industry. You know, we've already seen that over the period. So, yes, we as an organization, the U.S. Conference of Mayors, have stepped out. Now, what we really need is administration to sit down with the two countries and say, all right, it's time for fair trade all the way across, balanced. We are neighbors, we are friends, we are colleagues. We cannot live without each other. And those products are going to affect all the small businesses. Just was in Kentucky yesterday, meeting with distilleries who are having the same issue as we were discussing, all the Kentucky products that are now not being imported and sold. That's causing layoffs already. You just saw major distilleries in the U.S. laying off personnel because the effect is already there. So think about how this will be across the globe if we continue. Look, we all want fair and balanced trade, and we want equal But the reality is here that we've got to get to the table. We can't do it with threats. You do it with conversation.
Hi, Courtney Brown from Axios publication based here in DC. I have two questions. The first is, just bluntly, what is it exactly that you all are asking for? Because let's say that the tariffs that are already in place are suspended. Who's to say that President Trump doesn't turn around another day and decide to re-implement them? The question kind of goes to, what trust do you have in this administration that if tariffs are pulled back, they're going to sit back? And then quickly, my second question is just with some of the non-tariff barriers in Canada. Mayor Rickman mentioned Kentucky bourbon. Was there any discussion between you all on dropping some of those non-tariff barriers? In Canada, I know there's some boycotting of Kentucky liquor. Any detail you can give on that would be great. Thank you.
Mayor Burnett, you want to do this?
I think the one thing that has been challenging, from Rochester Hills and Metro Detroit, the headline of our paper yesterday, which I brought with me, said chaos. And it talked about the challenges of the last few weeks relative to tariffs and specifically how it impacts the auto industry. And the one thing that we know is tremendously problematic is uncertainty. You ask about certainty relative to the markets, relative to capital. That's what everyone is looking for, including local leaders. Obviously, it's tough to know exactly what the administration is going to do, but I know what my job is, no matter what the administration chooses to do, and that is to tell the impactful stories. You've heard a lot of numbers, and all of us could repeat numbers. This means, but I think Mayor Chow said it well. We need to focus on telling the stories. I know that President Trump cares about Michigan. I know that it was a state that he visited many, many times, and I know that he has said personally how much he cares about the auto industry. And so I need to relay to the Trump administration how important these decisions are to the auto industry and to a state that supported him. And my job is to share that story and the stories of the people of my community and the businesses of my community over and over and over. That's my role as a local official, and I think that's shared by most of the folks behind me.
Yeah, I'll reiterate that. Uncertainty is already. Businesses can't forecast. They can't forecast payroll, supply needs, etc. And just to the picture in San Antonio and in Texas, 1 in 5 jobs in the San Antonio and in the Texas economy depends on international trade. We are the basis of what is a growing automotive manufacturing community as well as aerospace. And I'll tell you that it supports well north of 10,000 jobs just in our community. Those are San Antonio families whose jobs are on the line because the businesses cannot function properly with all of this uncertainty. I'll also share with you that our message is not just to the administration, it's also to our congressional leaders. The authorities in which the president has unleashed what I view as an unprovoked trade war are questionable at best. And we're asking for our congressional leaders to stand up and stand with American families whose livelihoods are on the line.
Mayor Short, I'm sorry, 1 second. Mayor Short.
I just, I wanted to throw in, and it's a good question, right? What do you have to look at? You have to look at the problem that's in front of you. You have just heard from American mayors, 2 that lean on the Republican side, 2 that lean on the Democratic side. This is not a partisan issue. I said in the summit, and I'll say it here, I'm from Lansing, automotive town. We have 2 assembly plants for GM. We make on average $48,000 a year. If cars go up anywhere close to 10,000, you're going to have people that cannot afford to buy cars. So now you have a transportation problem. The U.S. Conference of Mayors has been focusing on housing. We are building housing in Lansing like crazy. Well, if the price goes up, we're building right at, when you talk about a finance gap, we are filling finance gap with future tax dollars, and our state is helping. If the price of steel goes up, if the price of wood goes up, that's going to make housing build unaffordable. These are all issues that are right in front of us. I can't predict what's going to happen in 6 months, what's going to happen in a year. This one's right in front of us. And when you have Republicans and Democrats, when you have Canada, when you have U.S. and you have Mexico all standing together, I think that's extremely powerful. I'm going to go home, I'm going to call my senators and my representative, I'm going to tell them I was just part of this. I was one of 6 U.S. mayors, and I was part of this. And I think people are paying attention. This is something that hasn't happened before that I know about. Tom might be able to say differently, but it's just not something that's happened before. And to see a Mayor Brian Barnett of Michigan, leaning Republican, of Mayor Andy Shore of Michigan, leaning Democrat, all of us coming together, along with our new friends, I just think that this is something that that people are going to stand up and take notice of. Thank you.
Councilor Bligh?
I'll just add to the other comments that we represent communities that are relying on us to do something. And so what you see here is representative of what feels like an existential crisis to many people that live in our communities. This is about feeding their children. This is about being able to make their mortgage payments, being able to keep their jobs. So while the question is certainly fair, and I think we're all wondering what could possibly happen after this, anything is possible. We recognize right now we are in an uncertain future, probably, right, for the next 3 to 4 years, while we weather any storm that comes our way. To have this united group use the strength of 3 countries representing municipalities cannot be understated. And these meetings started a month and a half ago with our first delegation from FCM coming to meet with all the different associations here in the United States just as a starting point. And look what we have here now within a month. So I think it's important for us to stay united and also hopeful because our communities are depending on us to do so.
Take one more. Yeah. Go ahead.
Linda from Bloomberg. I want to ask, as mayors, what do you feel like? Were there any discussions of best practices in terms of what you guys as mayors tend to do, some of the challenges how the jobs, what other stuff?
Sure. Mayor Chow?
Yes. There was discussion about how we could support people that are most at risk. They might lose their jobs. Can we do some retraining? And can we support our local small businesses so that at least the economy can stay strong? There's some of that discussion. And there is a commitment that, yes, we will continue our friendship, our relationship, and learn from each other and hear each other's stories, and not just of the jobs lost and all the negative things, but also how we celebrate each other's culture and our history of all 3 countries together. And there was that really, really strong. In fact, there was a big round of applause when that was raised, and there was huge smile in all our faces. So I want to point out that it's not all negative. It's not all doom and gloom. There's a real spirit of resiliency. We are strong. We can do this. We are hopeful. Let's move forward together.
Mayor Cantrell is a great voice for that. Any comments? Would you like to speak?
Oh, yeah.
Well, everything really has been said, but the bottom line is we understand that trading is important, but we came out knowing that it's the people-to-people relations and the ability to meet our people where they are. So we will stay united. We know that we are stronger together, and we hope that our voices today will resonate to the administration as well as to our congressional leaders. The time is now. And also just thinking that we are coming out of COVID-19 still. So now is not the time to add extra burdens on our people, on our countries collectively. So we stand united, and we're going to continue to stay connected because our people really depend upon us to do so. So thank you so much.
Thank you. We'll ask some of the mayors to stick around if you have questions for one-on-ones.
We're going to do a group photo real quick, Rebecca.
Okay.
Ah.
Let's do it.
Okay.
You want the podium in or out?